Right now, much of the region waking up to snowfall and dangerous wintry conditions.
You can see it there for yourself. We are in a weather impact alert this morning. Our crews are across Hampton roads tracking the storm and its impact. It is 8 o'clock. We're starting with daybreak here on 13 News Now Plus with team coverage. Good morning, of course, and thanks for joining us this morning.
All right, so let's toss things over now to, I think we're heading to Marta Bergman. No, we're going to check in with Craig first and check on this forecast. I mean, you know, Craig, I remember when you first called this storm, last Monday.
Yeah,
I mean,
last Monday.
There's been a lot of changes, but, I mean, it's pretty much hit on what you've been talking about.
So a lot of it has, and honestly, some of this has underperformed. You know, at some points early in the week, models were going crazy with snow totals. We were like, okay, we're going to likely see some changes, and we did. Coming into this last night, I talked to Tim yesterday, who worked with Hunter last night. We've got team coverage. Evan's set to come in this afternoon with Hunter, and they'll continue to watch all of this. But we were talking, he said, you know, 1 to maybe 2 inches for some parts of the south side. We were more concerned freezing rain and mix inland. All of that stuff has worked out. We had slightly lower totals at the airport, for instance. We only had 0.6 of an inch of snow through midnight, but we've had additional light mixed precipitation. And now, as you can see on our Thompson Creek Window Company Skyview, there is rain on the camera housing up there at the Air and Space Center, looking back towards the carousel. And this was earlier just snow covered. It was beautiful. And now it's kind of melting. And, you know, you can just see how the snow's kind of dissipating and sliding down the carousel. The roads are still messy in many areas. Temperatures feeling like they're in the teens for inland areas, in the upper 20s to near 30. Actual air temperatures, though, are much warmer. In Virginia Beach, we have temperatures actually in the upper 30s right now. Rain at Norfolk as well. So here's what we're expecting. We still have some snow far inland and off to the north. A little bit of sleet and freezing rain far inland as well, transitioning to a cold rain for most of the morning. And then another round, I think there'll be some breaks in the afternoon, but another round of rain or mix possible tonight. We still have the winter storm warnings in effect, and you can see how rain has overtaken areas along the coast, even parts of the peninsula, Hampton, as I mentioned, back over Pocosin, kind of a little bit of a mix there. You get up towards Williamsburg. We've been hearing from Brianna. We're going to hear more from her in a moment on how the conditions are up in Williamsburg. We have Derek out in Wakefield. Lots of great reports coming in from across the region, and we'll check those inland locations for freezing precipitation. Look at the temperatures, teens far inland. These are actual air temperatures, but we are above freezing now for the south side and down through North Carolina. Here's the day. Temperatures warming up to about 44 degrees. Marta, those roads are still really messy.
They're wet, yes. I will say, though, snow is melting on the roads, and that is helping in terms of the slipperiness. We're not seeing snow-covered roads across the board, at least in primary areas. A lot of this map was orange earlier this morning. We're seeing that change over to green, which means that melting is occurring. Still watching a crash shutting down all south lanes of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel this morning. I-64 East, we also have a crash up near Big Bethel Road, still blocking off one lane of traffic. And in Newport News, you can see the interstates, that melting has mostly happened. So the interstates are looking quite clear. As we take a look at a different camera angle, this is Jefferson Avenue near City Center Boulevard, where we do have some melting happening. We still have some snow on the roads as well, so definitely don't want to let your guard down, but the roads are not completely terrible altogether. I do want to verify that. South side, Virginia Beach, looking good. You can see that there's that slush that's still occurring there, so you want to be careful as you head out the door. Prepare for those road conditions to impact your commute. Guys.
Okay, Marta, thank you. As we've been telling you, we are in that weather impact alert today, tracking that snow, tracking the ice, tracking the rain now that's in our region.
Yeah, most areas got a blanket of snow overnight. So let's head over to Jordy Clark. She is live from the Weather Impact Interceptor. You know, Jordy, you've seen kind of a mixture of conditions this morning. What are you seeing right now, and where are you?
Yes, actually, certainly. It has. We started in a lot of snow this morning in Norfolk, headed towards the ocean front, and honestly almost saw a lot of that snow dissipate just with a lot of that rain. But we are back inland. We were just in Chesapeake, and we're currently leaving, heading towards Portsmouth now. But just to take a look at the conditions, obviously you can see that we still have plenty of snow that's going to be in the grassier areas. But, you know, on these interstates and these areas, we have got this slushy wetness from this rain, that transition, and that's what any drivers at do have to be on the road today, we'll see. And again, as we've had our team coverage, you have seen all throughout the area just how different, and it depends on where you are. Now, I know, again, that so many areas are still seeing the snow mixing with the rain, but again, a lot of snow is now melting on contact, so it could be a good thing. It's just unfortunate for those who wanted to kind of see that wintry wonderland, still a little reminiscent of, you know, the holiday seasons, but certainly something to be mindful of as you are headed out the door for anything today. Now, while crews have said just to, you know, play it on the safe side and maybe just stay in today, don't travel if you don't have to, you know, looking at these roads, these are what you are going to be seeing today, especially here, you know, on the south side of Virginia. But, you know, as we are heading back to Portsmouth and getting further inland, I am interested to see just the difference in the amount of snow accumulation, how much is melting, how much rain they're getting, because we see so many different parts of the area. Our meteorologists have talked about it throughout the morning as well, that it just depends on where you are. So certainly be careful, be mindful. Don't just assume the roads are, you know, completely free and ready to ride through. They, you know, again, are still dealing with all that accumulation we've had. But we will keep tracking that throughout the streams this morning and keep you guys updated on your commute to wherever you have to go on this Sunday morning. But until then, back to you guys.
And Ashley, you mentioned that Jordy's kind of seen like a hodgepodge of different things, you know, and probably not as much as we've seen in other places, though, as she's gone along her route. Thank you, Jordy. We appreciate you. But speaking of those other places, like Williamsburg, where we have Brianna Fallon, she's been out there this morning. And hey, Brianna, so what are you seeing in your area now?
Yeah, so the sleet just actually started coming down really, really hard just kind of a few moments before it came over to us over here. And you can kind of, I see it kind of just bouncing off of my jacket here. You might not be able to see it on camera, but it's hitting hard and it is bouncing right off. But I do want to kind of talk about the conditions out here. Now, we've been talking about all morning how crews have been out here really trying to make safe walkways for some people. But I do want to talk about the roads. It might be best, you know, on this Sunday morning to stay at home and off the roads because they still don't look too safe to be driving on here in Williamsburg. They still have that nice layer of snow, but we are seeing plows come through kind of trying to clean it up. But I will say, you know, like I mentioned, we've been seeing these city workers out here all morning. And if you actually take a look at the path right here, you can see the sidewalk pretty clear. There's just kind of a thin layer of that sleet that started falling momentarily. But again, you know, they're moving down. They're just continuing to clean off the path all the way through out Colonial Williamsburg. Here earlier, we did speak with some of them and they kind of told us what things are looking like now and how their morning's been going.
We're trying to get all of this section clear of snow and ice. We got blowers, we got snow blowers.
We're just trying to get it clear so everybody can walk safely without falling out here today.
Exactly what they were doing. So we haven't really seen any people out now. Those workers that we talked with, they say that they do expect some people to come out a little bit later. They also say that while earlier it was, you know, they didn't have that much of a problem kind of picking the snow up here and moving it off the path and melting it with salt, they're not sure what's going to happen as the day moves on with the sleet and potentially ice. Brianna Fallon, 13 News Now.
Yeah, certainly some dangerous conditions that folks could be dealing with depending on where they are this morning. Brianna, thank you for your reporting all morning long. We still see a little bit of snowfall there where Brianna is. I kind of wonder how things are shaping up where Derek is this morning.
Yeah, you know, even as we go to Derek, bless those guys who are out there and all the crews who are out there making sure that we can be safe this morning if you have to be out there. Derek, we send it to you. You're out there right now. How is it looking in Wakefield?
Yeah, out here in Wakefield, I'll tell you, if you ever heard the song that goes, "It's easy like Sunday morning," well, that's how people are taking it out here. People are driving slow, taking it easy. Now, we have a couple crews of brave souls out here taking care of the shoveling the parking lot at the auto parts store. The two guys working over at the market actually opened it up early for some people waiting to get some last-minute grocery items. I don't know if they're hosting for the AFC and NFC championship games later. Maybe they got a party in the snow that they're hosting, but grabbing some items from the market. So people are starting to wake up for their day and realizing that there's a lot of snow still here on the ground. You know, the sleet, since you guys have come to me throughout the last couple hours, has just not gone away, unfortunately for myself. But you can see even here near this gas station, you can see the blanketed kind of coverage. It's not necessarily the snow that's sticking that we saw earlier in the morning, but you know, that sleet's still carrying on here in Wakefield. Now I'm gonna hop on over there and talk to those guys shoveling and see how they're doing and holding up this morning. But definitely people slow pace driving out here in Wakefield, guys.
Okay, thanks, Derek. And you know, he brings up a great point. There have been a lot of churches that have kind of canceled their in-person services today, but normally on a Sunday for a lot of people, it's pretty easy going, and so hopefully that's helping people stay off the roads.
Absolutely. So let's see how things are going to shape up throughout the rest of the day. We'll turn now to meteorologist Taylor Stephenson and just get the very latest on this track here. You know, we've been watching how things are shaping up. Are we heading to Taylor now? We're heading to Jeremiah.
I think we're going to go to Jeremiah, who is in Smithfield, and it looks like we got a shot here with the snow that's there on the road. I'm sure they're getting that right now. And so, you know, we've been looking at it. Hey, there she is. All right, Jeremiah, we're getting you set up. I know you've been cold. You got the gloves in your hand, all that kind of stuff. I know you've been trying to stay warm, so we got you. But Jeremiah, tell me so far, we still see the snow in there. Is it mostly snow? You seeing some ice? What are you seeing out there?
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, so we're still seeing that rain that's coming down. That's been consistent all morning long. But on the ground, if I can get you to pan down for me, this is pretty much ice, not so much snow, but ice, and it's covered the ground here. But if you look out on the roadway there, you can see it's pretty clear with the salt and brine that, you know, crews have been putting out on the road to treat roads to keep them passable. But you can see even on this way, if you come this way, it's starting to melt a little bit, slushy in some spots, but still pretty passable. The conditions out here, like I've said all morning long, has been frozen. Some areas you can see it's rock solid, others it's kind of like a slushy mix. But again, on the roadways, we've just had to take our time maneuvering around this area. Definitely earlier this morning coming from Norfolk up here, 45-minute drive, we definitely had to be careful because while this is a light drizzle coming from the sky now, earlier it was a steady, heavy rain. And we've continued to see that all morning long, but on the roadways, you know, and some of those spots you have where the roads are passable, others it starts to turn into just solid rock hard ice. So we've been seeing variations around of that in different portions of the area. But like I said, again, we're in Smithfield at this point. The rain is lighter. We're still seeing some ice. We're actually in the parking lot of a gas station right now, and you can kind of see, I'm going to have them kind of turn over this way. Still some of that ice slush mix right here on the ground. So in other areas you see the road is passable. You still see this frosty, crunchy ice here, and so that's kind of what we've been tracking around this area. Now we'll continue to kind of hop and survey some other areas around this community here. So once we have that, I'll follow up with you there, but I'm going to send it back to you all in the studio.
You know, it was kind of interesting to watch, you know, during Jeremiah's shot there that we saw the raindrops come on the lens, but it wasn't a whole lot. You know, I was kind of concerned we weren't going to be able to see her, but she's still very visible through the lens at this point.
We can see you through the drops right now, Jeremiah, but here's what we'll do. We'll let you go put those gloves on because I know that's what you need to do right now, and we'll come back with you at another point there, but I'm glad that we're able to kind of see how things are looking across the region. All right, your time right now is 8:16. 13 News Now Daybreak. We'll be right back.
Okay, yeah. We just have to stay up.
Well, right now, Dominion Energy crews are responding to power outages across the area.
You know, they've been working since before this weekend storm even hit our area to make sure that our area has power. And right now we are joined by Tim Eberly, a spokesperson for Dominion Energy. Good morning, Tim. Thank you so much. Taking some time out of your busy schedule this morning. How are conditions looking when it comes to power across our region as of now?
Right now, it looks great. We've got fewer than 200 outages, which is very normal for a day where there's no storm. We're actually not looking to have any operational impacts until later this afternoon, starting around 4 o'clock and moving forward. And to be honest, most of the operational impacts that we're expecting are going to be in central Virginia, the Richmond area, the I-95, I-85 corridors. Over the last couple of days, the forecast has shifted in a very favorable way for Hampton Roads. So that's good news for your viewers in the Virginia Beach, Norfolk area.
Yeah, it's great news for Hampton Roads. Fewer than 200 power outages is fantastic. But you know, I always wonder from a Dominion Energy perspective, when you do hear winter weather coming, what is the biggest concern for like potential power outages in terms of the type of weather? Is it the wind? Is it the ice? Is it the snow? Like what could potentially cause a lot of power outages? Just something to think for the future, especially, you know, other storms that could come.
So really, for this particular type of storm in the winter, the real concern is ice. And we start having significant operational issues once there's accumulation of ice north of a quarter inch. And we're looking at the forecast for Central Virginia. You can see that we're looking at forecasts of 0.4, 0.5 inches of ice. Over the last couple days in the Hampton Roads area, it has gone down to 0 to less than 0.1 or 0.01. So we're looking at very, very minimal amounts of ice accumulation in Hampton Roads, and that's why we are not looking at nearly the operational impacts or outages in this area that we're now expecting in Central Virginia.
And so, Tim, that's the response side of things, right? But how do you all prep for something like this? I know kind of off of Ashley's point of what you might be most concerned with, but how do you make sure that the area is in the best position no matter what comes? What do you guys have been doing the last few days or so ahead of this?
Well, in the days leading up to this, we are trying to arrange as many crews as possible, and that includes getting mutual aid crews from other peer utilities. What we do in the months leading up to storms like this, where we essentially what we do year round is we have a tree trimming program where we're trimming tree limbs and trees that are along power lines. We have an underground program where we are strategically placing power lines underground in areas that are prone to outages. The vast majority of outages that we see are related to fallen tree limbs and trees. So it's really, and that's when we're talking about ice and wind, it's those weather conditions that bring down those tree limbs on the power lines. So it's really important year round to stay on top of that and make sure that there's not as much, in terms of the tree limbs that run along those power lines are at a safe distance.
Absolutely, and I know your crews have been busy over the last few days. If there is someone that does have an outage that they need to report to you, what can they expect realistically in terms of restoration, even though we don't have a whole lot of outages right now? And what's the best way to get that information over to you?
Well, we are ready for this storm. We've been expecting this for a week now, and thankfully, like I said, in this region, the conditions have changed favorably. We have hundreds of crews strategically located throughout Virginia right now, particularly in areas where we expect the most number of outages. If what we ask folks is if they have an outage, do not assume that your neighbors reported it. The best way to report outages is on our Dominion Energy app, but you can also go on our website or call us at 1-866-DOM-HELP. Either of those three options are good. We ask folks also if they see a down power line to please call us as well, and to assume that it's dangerous and not go near it and to stay away from them. Of course, I'm sure many of your viewers have already done this in the days leading up to this, but just in case, it's always good to charge your electrical devices and to have some food and water, extra food and water on hand just in case. But we do think that the effects in Hampton Roads in your primary viewership area are going to be very favorable compared to the rest of the state.
Okay, Tim, as always, man, it's a good time to talk to you. Thank you for waking up, taking that time on your busy schedule today and speaking with us and getting that information out to our viewers.
Absolutely. All right, and we'll certainly keep an eye on conditions, especially when it comes to power outages. Great to hear, though, that they are very low at this hour, so some great news there. Let's check in now with Taylor for the latest on this storm's track.
And Tim was exactly right. This is a more favorable setup for us here in Hampton Roads in northeastern North Carolina when it comes to this winter weather mess across the U.S. We actually got on the warm side of the system, and so with that warmer air infiltrating our area, we're talking this mix of rain for most of us, maybe a little bit of freezing rain as you head to the west, and some areas of sleet, as we saw Brianna out in Williamsburg just about a few minutes ago, where she was seeing that sleet pelt the area there. But again, snow pretty much over for us, and here's why. A look at regional temperature shows you the setup for today. The warmer air being pushed in by this low pressure system near our coast. Temperatures right now in Hatteras, 60 degrees. We should be somewhere in the low 50s for high temperatures on a given January day. So we're already beating that in some places around the Outer Banks. But for the general area of Hampton Roads, we're above freezing, upper 30s to the upper 40s. You get into western portions of Virginia and western portions of North Carolina, and they're in the teens and 20s. That's why they're seeing some sleet, some snow, also some freezing rain, as there probably is a little bit more warmer air in the upper levels of the atmosphere, maybe not so much at the surface, but places around D.C. and Baltimore is still getting in on some snow as temperatures are hovering in the teens. Now, here's a look at travel delays across the U.S. for today through the midday, and you can see that there'll be major delays across the Northeast, and we can maybe see some of those delays impacting us here at Norfolk International downstream, as we may see some cancellations or delays at other bigger airports across the Northeast. We take it into late tonight, and those major impacts start to shift to the north and east, with maybe some minor impacts here across Virginia and North Carolina, but things start to improve as we head into early Monday as the weather starts to move offshore. Now, for us, it is a very cold start to the day, but not as cold as it was yesterday. We had feels like temperatures yesterday -2 to 3 degrees. Today, still feeling like a few degrees below freezing. Right now in Norfolk, we're in the upper 30s, feeling more like a few degrees below freezing. Now, guess who decided to actually go outside in this cold weather? It's meteorologist Craig Muller, who's outside getting pelted with some rain. Craig, what are you seeing now?
Along with one of my fantastic digital producers, Kathleen Lundy. She came out. Thank you so much. Kathleen, right on Taylor's cue, she talked about what it feels like out here. The wind started to gust a bit. When I came in, mantle of white. It wasn't very deep, maybe a half an inch to an inch or so in some areas. Now look at how the rain moved in some areas. Now look at how the rain is kind of falling apart. I wanted to give you a sense for what you're going to experience when you're out and about. You can see the ground here. It's slushy. All right, it's a lot of rain that's mixing in, but it is still slick out here. We need folks to be very careful. I'm going to gingerly walk down this little decline here. See, that's wet and slushy, and then you come out here and it's slush covered as well. Bottom line is, it's not really so much icy right here in downtown Norfolk, but it's still slushy, it's still slick, and if you're not careful and you're moving along, you could lose your footing, or maybe your wheel could get loose on the car, whatever. I'll also mention this. Coming in this morning, I saw a couple of guys clearing some of the snow outside of one of the hotels in downtown Norfolk, and they were having a little trouble keeping their feet. So there's still some slick spots out there. And I got to tell you, even though air temperatures are in the 30s, the wind chills are in the upper 20s, it's pretty chilly out here. I'll send it back into you guys.
Craig, I know Craig is so excited to be out there. Listen, I just want to know, why don't you have a coat on?
Really? Gloves, scarf, hat, what in the world?
You know, I brought in a coat, and I was like, oh, we're only going to be out there for a minute. We're above freezing. I'll be fine. I'm wishing I had it on. I know my photographer, Kathleen, really wishes she had her coat.
So for those who are watching, Craig, thank you for showing us what you're seeing outside. But dress better than that. I mean, it looks good, but I know that doesn't feel good. Yeah.
Absolutely. I will dress more appropriately. It is raining right now, though, so just know it's still a raw, kind of a pretty gross day.
Yeah. You see all that slush there.
All right, Craig, we appreciate you. And, you know, we have been talking this morning about those conditions. You see it. Taylor, you've been telling us along with Craig how we're seeing things kind of differently. Marta, the roads, that certainly is not fun to drive in.
No, it's different than it was before. It was snow. Now it's more of that slush. Right. So they're not clear, but it's a changing sort of environment.
Yeah. And good thing is that most areas, at least Norfolk, Virginia Beach, eastern South Side, and eastern portions of northeastern North Carolina, we shouldn't really see a refreeze overnight. So even though it's slushy, it's a mess, but at least by tonight, that slush should kind of stay there instead of being a hard ice tomorrow morning.
Okay, well, that's a bit of good news there. So we'll continue to watch this for you. Make sure you stay with us. We're going to be back in just a few minutes with more coverage of this weekend winter storm.
Well, good Sunday morning. It is 8:31 this morning, and thanks for joining us here on 13 News Now. Plus, I'm Eugene Daniel.
And I'm Ashley Smith, and we're going to toss things right over to meteorologist Craig Moeller for the forecast because, you know, that's why folks are tuning in this morning. They want to know what's going to shape up with this weekend winter storm, Craig.
It is a cold, yucky, nasty rain right now in Norfolk and up in Hampton. We're seeing that transition as well. As Taylor has been telling us all morning, she's been doing a phenomenal job getting snow reports in and getting the various conditions across the area. Some folks are still dealing with what we're calling a wintry mess right now. Honestly, you've got sleet in some areas. Remember, that's like the little hard ice pellets, the granules that kind of fall and can bounce and kind of pock around. You can hear the sound of sleet maybe hitting your window or your roof or whatever. And then other areas we've been seeing maybe a little bit of freezing rain, but it's been rain closer to the coast now. We've seen that transition. So here's what we're going to find. Still some snow far inland and off to the north, and a little bit of freezing rain or sleet still possible in some spots. We are seeing more and more of the area transitioning to this chilly rain. I just came in from outside. I can tell you it is cold out there and it is wet. Another round of rain and mix potentially later this evening, especially inland with rain showers closer to the coast. Our winter storm warning continues for Virginia and for overtaken. So when I came in this morning, when we all came in, there was snow on the ground. Now it is slushy and compacting. This is that transition we had talked about. All of that's played out. One thing that I think this storm has really kind of underperformed on was the amount of snow that they were going to see, especially to the north and west. They've had more snow up that way, but it was never that dramatic. Remember, even yesterday, some of the models were calling 3 to 5, maybe 6 inches of snow or more up around the Richmond area. So far, the reports have been coming in a lot lower than that. So chilly rain at the coast. We've got that mix, some sleet and freezing rain farther inland, and then eventually you do find some more snow off to the north. Now, the main axis of heavier snow is farther to the north across northern Virginia, all the way up into Maryland, Pennsylvania. They're going to see more of it. Here, we're looking at temperatures still sub-freezing. I mean, really cold temperatures in the teens along I-95. This is where we could see some freezing rain, maybe a glazing of ice on some of the roads out that way. And then we've got the sleet kind of mixing in, but more of a transition. Suffolk right now. Let's see if we can get it to take. Yep. Oh, there we go. All right, rain reported at Suffolk. That's what I wanted to show you. In Newport News, we have 30 degrees right there and a mix of rain and sleet in Newport News. In Hampton right now, 32 degrees. We had reports of rain earlier, and that extends up towards the eastern shore. There was snow up around Wallops. Feels like it's in the low 30s right now for Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, and Norfolk, still much colder inland. Today, temperatures into the mid-40s or low to mid-40s, so it is going to warm up. We're going to see more rain than anything else around Norfolk and the downtown area, but keep in mind there will be some mixing inland, and it's going to feel like it's in the upper 30s. So my best advice, avoid this nasty weather this morning. Just stay in and stay warm if you can. And again, we'll see more rain later today. Marta?
Yeah, roads not too terribly busy this morning, and as we've seen that changeover into the wintry mix, now we're starting to see the road conditions change over from snowy to more slushy. Still kind of gross, and you still want to take that extra time. We are not watching any crashes right now. The CBBT is back open southbound after a crash shut down all south lanes earlier this morning. As we take a look at the map, I-64 in Williamsburg, that's one of the primary roads where we're still seeing snow cover, and that's why it's popping up as orange on the map. You can see that slushy snow is still on the interstate. Most primary roads have now seen that melting occur and are now in that slushy stage. This is in Chesapeake at Moses Grandy Trail. We've got that dusting of snow. Road is not looking too bad, but once again, you want to watch for slick spots with that melting snow, sleet, and now freezing rain as well. This is Godwin Boulevard near Main Street. Similar conditions there and across the south side. So once again, your road conditions will depend on where you are, but of course, you want to allow that extra time if you do need to head out the door. Guys.
Let's turn now to Smithfield, where we find Jeremiah Beatty this morning.
Okay, this time she has the scarf on, she has the gloves on, she has the hat on. We know it's cold, Jeremiah, but we're seeing some droplets on the screen. Is it still kind of raining out there?
Yes, we are still seeing that light drizzle out here in Smithfield this morning. But yeah, you saw me kind of grabbing myself here because it is really cold. But since I've been standing out here, we've seen several spreaders coming through, plow trucks coming through, just making sure the roads out here are pretty clear. And you can see that there on the main highways, very passable. We've seen some cars have minimal trouble actually getting around here. But what I will show you that's a little tricky, you can point down to my feet. It's very slippery. This is completely ice. But then in other areas like this, coming off those roads that are very passable, you see there when you enter into this gas station here, it's slushy, and I've seen some cars their tires having some trouble getting on top of that because it's so crunchy. It's hard for the tire tread to to get traction there. So that's been some of the tough spots. Even if I can turn you over here, you can see over there at the entrance, we've seen some cars kind of struggling to turn out of here just because of the ice. So while the main roads look really clear and passable, there's still some trouble spots around. So, and again, I've been saying all morning long, coming from Norfolk out here, the drive, we had to be very cautious because the roads were very slick, icy in some spots, frozen in others, so we've definitely had to take it slow. But again, you can just see around here in Smithfield, there's still some snow on the ground. We still have that steady rain coming, some of those cars covered with ice. But if you're headed out, if you have to head out today, just take your time. But the best thing, like we've been telling people, is to stay home, stay warm, and be safe. But we'll continue to track conditions out here in Smithfield. Reporting live for you, I'm Jeremiah Beatty.
Okay, Jeremiah, thank you. And our photographer who is with them as well. I know they're both at this moment getting a little wet with the cold, so we appreciate your work there. We can see it there on the lens.
All right, let's turn now to Williamsburg, because we've been seeing such different conditions across Hampton Roads. You see, we still have kind of snow on the ground where Jeremiah is, but the roads are turning to slush. Brianna is in Williamsburg, and I know we've seen a lot of just continuous falling snow this morning in Williamsburg. It looks like, it seems like it's maybe snowing still a little bit there, Brianna. Wow.
Yeah. Right now it's mainly kind of a sleet. You can I see it kind of bouncing off my sleeve right here. But, like we've been talking about all morning, the snow is still on the ground. If you actually take a look right here, so there were some plows that came through this parking lot earlier. You can kind of see here where the snow wasn't earlier, and that little layer compared to over here where there was still snow and it wasn't really touched earlier. So you can kind of see, what these crews have been out here doing. We just saw somebody shoveling right across the street, and somebody kind of just drove by on a snow blower, kind of blowing that snow off the sidewalk. But I actually want you to follow me this way. So, like I mentioned, crews are out here all morning, the sidewalk pretty clear, but again, it's really cold out here. And so it's probably best to stay inside this Sunday morning, especially because these roads still not very clear. But just to show you guys how cold it is. So our car has been sitting out here all morning. There is now a sheet of ice kind of underneath the snow. You might be able to kind of see it here. This just slushy ice mix, and it's so cold that the car has been able to make some icicles that have been kind of just hanging off the side here. But again, those workers out there, they are hard at work. We did speak to some earlier who kind of mentioned that they're not sure what the rest of the day is going to bring, but they've been out here all morning since about 6 o'clock.
We're trying to get all of this section clear of snow and ice. We got blowers, we got snow blowers.
We're just trying to get it clear so everybody can walk safely without falling out here today.
Snow out here, it's not really super soft. It's more of a harder mix of snow here, so not the kind of snow you want to be having a snowball fight with. But for now, live in Williamsburg, Brianna Fallon, 13 News Now.
Yeah, maybe not the snowball fight kind of snow, but we appreciate you letting us know how conditions are out in Williamsburg. And, Eugene, you mentioned it earlier, the workers that have been just tirelessly going overnight to make sure that we are safe when we wake up in the morning and get out to enjoy the snow or whatever is left. Yeah. We truly, truly appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you run into someone or you're out there and you're able to walk on your sidewalk or whatever that may be, and you still see that snow on the grassy areas, just think, okay, somebody really made this possible for me. So hopefully you'll thank them. And it was cool that Brianna was able to catch up with them too there. And how about Williamsburg? Still falling down there.
Still coming down.
Amazing.
Wow.
Okay, well, let's switch gears now to Wakefield. And Derek Lytle is up with us this morning. Derek, I know we don't usually get to see you this early, my brother, so it's good to see you. How are things looking out there in Wakefield?
Hey, sometimes you got to build it into your routine, right? Now, you guys mentioned people out here working today. Well, actually, I just caught up with some gentlemen behind me. You see them hard at work right here. And they told me they saw the forecast pop up, and they said, you know what? We need to make a couple bucks out of this. And they said, we're going to go get the plow, we're going to go get our supplies, and we're going to hit up every business and mom and pop shop in town and see if they want us to come help sweep their driveway, even the driveway of this business here. And they're doing, pretty good work. They've been out here for over an hour now. How's it holding up, guys? You good? Yeah. There you go, but they're having some fun while trying to make an extra dollar. We still have some ice on the ground even here at the gas station, so that's what's causing the work to take a little bit longer. Now, I'll let you listen into our conversation a little bit ago about what he had to say about snowfall in Wakefield.
We hardly don't get snow. As soon as the snow hits, it rains right after. So this is kind of the most snow we stick so far.
Wiped away before they can enjoy it, so they're enjoying it out here today. He says They do prefer the summertime over the winter, though, guys.
I think I do too.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. But I love how you said that they knew there was going to be an issue, and they immediately thought, how can I make some money?
How can I get out there and I mean, that's great.
Where there's a problem, there's a profit, right?
Hey, that's something to preach this morning, guys.
And that's what we try to do on Sunday mornings.
Especially with
a little bit of a word.
There you go.
All right, Derek, man. Try to stay warm. We appreciate you. We'll check in with you soon. But you know what? It's so forecast. It just looks different in different parts of the area, Taylor.
It does, and I think that Craig and I deserve a cut of that. A cut of that money. Hello, we're the ones who forecasted this, 7 days ago. We let y'all know when you can make some money. That's a little irritating. I could have used that money. Okay, but yes, as you said, Eugene, across Virginia, across North Carolina, very different types of precipitation here. I mean, we're talking here in Hampton Roads with the influx of warmer air in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And even closer to the surface. That's why we're getting some of that rain. You head just further inland and they're talking all sleet. We saw earlier Brianna being pelted by sleet. It's a little bit lighter now. Derek's seeing a little bit of a lull, but he saw snow and then mix over into some ice on top of that. Okay, so we are seeing some of that mixed precipitation. Most of the day, though, for us will be mainly rain, maybe a little bit of areas of freezing rain as temperatures continue to just stay above freezing, even some places in the Outer Banks this morning in the 60s. So much warmer here along the immediate coast for North Carolina and Virginia. But according to our storm reports, there are so many storm reports. Let's take it to our general area. I'm going to take it up on the peninsula. This is in Beaconsdale, and you can see there was about 1.5 inches of snowfall. We did forecast about 1 inch to 3 inches, but this storm actually underperformed here in Hampton Roads and also up in RVA in Richmond, where they only got about 2 to 3 inches of snowfall, where some of the models, as Craig mentioned, were forecasting 6 to 8 plus. And so there were areas of some of that freezing rain. I'll go ahead and give it to Eugene. Go ahead. I think I'm having Mac issues.
All right, Taylor, we appreciate you. We'll take it from here at this point, and we'll go back to Taylor when we come back from a break. We'll take a few seconds, though, and go to break, and we'll come back with more news, weather, and traffic.
Yeah, mic check one. I can hear myself. I'm here sitting in the pod. It's Sunday. I'm ready to eat. Right now, I'm talking right here at the pod with the.
Okay. I don't know why.
Good morning. We are in a weather impact alert still through the day as our region experiencing that snow, the rain, and the ice coming in overnight.
All right, let's turn now to Jordy Clark. She joins us live from Portsmouth. You know, Jordy, you've kind of been all over the 757 this morning, so you're out of the weather impact interceptor. What are you seeing there in Portsmouth?
Yeah, so I finally got out. I got off the roads for a little bit. We wanted to stretch our legs because we've been cramped up all morning, but we definitely saw a mixed bag like we'd been mentioning. I mean, starting in Norfolk, of course, seeing that snow. And by the time we got to the ocean front, it honestly looked like it barely even snowed because of all the rain that they had got in that area. But then we went to Chesapeake and kind of saw it changing a bit. But now I wanted to highlight a little bit here at Portsmouth City Park, just a little bit of kind of what we're seeing when it comes to these road and grass conditions. It honestly looks like the glazed donut that Taylor had mentioned, and thank you for mentioning that because now I am starving. But the point is, it looks like that glossy finish, that slush. This is not, like we said, I cannot make a snowball with this. This is more like an ice slush ball. Maybe making like a snow cone would actually work better. But then you even see on the roads that kind of slushy mixture, which is what we saw on the highway coming here. And now here at the park, it's a beautiful scenery, I will say, outside of the rain. And we've actually seen a few people kind of come and go as well. So luckily that this happened on the weekend. I know we've also mentioned that too, because there's not too much traffic to worry about. There's not too much, commuter people walking around. But certainly, again, it's just a nice day to maybe just stay inside. I don't think my kids are at home right now outside making snow angels, because it's more like slush angels, I'd say. But certainly want to kind of walk around these areas of the park just to kind of see all the different precipitation we got. You know, the 757 certainly saw a mixed bag, like we have said. I've seen a mixed bag. I feel like I've been through different areas just within the span of a few hours, because again, depending on where you are in Virginia, depends on what you saw. So certainly, again, here in Portsmouth, further inland, it's that snowy slush mess that we, don't love, but at the end of the day, it is some wintry Wonderland-esque reminiscence that we are getting today. But certainly we'll keep tracking all of these conditions throughout the morning as well.
Yeah, Jordy, you said you feel like you have been. You were in Virginia Beach, then you were in Chesapeake, and now you're in Portsmouth. So you have been on the road and traveling this morning, and hopefully those boys of yours will cook Mom some breakfast for when you get back. How about that?
I need some soup. So if they're up watching, I want my soup when I get home.
That's a good idea. I like that, Jordy. I like that very much. Well, get back in the weather impact interceptor. Get warm. We'll check in with you a little bit later on this morning, because right now I think we got to check this forecast, because it has been a mixed bag really this morning, Taylor.
It has. I mean, we're talking anything from snow to sleet, freezing rain, and also just plain Jane cold rain. Say that 5 times fast. But across the area, it's because we really had that warm air infiltrate Hampton Roads. And so as Tim from Dominion Energy said earlier, we actually kind of got on the better side of this system. We would rather have all snow or this mix over into a rain where we're not really dealing with the iciest problems. Right now, you can see across our area, here's a current radar. Cold rain for a lot of us on the south side, eastern south side, heading into portions of the central south side and in northeastern North Carolina. Some areas of sleet still on the peninsula, some areas of some snow for the middle peninsula and northern neck and northern portions of the eastern shore. Overall, though, just a really messy Sunday across our area. You can see everywhere right now we are seeing some type of precipitation. Now, Craig, what should people expect for later on today?
So a chilly rain for Hampton Roads close to the coast. We know that. We're going to see temperatures in the lower to mid 40s around Norfolk and Virginia Beach, mid 40s. It's not bad at all. Even warmer down along the Outer Banks and along eastern North Carolina. Rain chances very good. You'll notice how we start to dry it out for a little while during the afternoon. Additional showers possible this evening. Wanted to mention at the ocean front with the Thompson Creek Window Company Skyview, not that anybody wants to get out and do any pleasure crafting or boating out there today, but we do have small craft advisories up, and you can see the waves pretty angry out there. Still some remnants of the snow. If you look closely at the beach, you can see some little pockets where we had snow earlier, but most of that's been washed away with the rain now. 39 degrees at the airport. Let me show you some of the conditions out here. In Suffolk, for instance, we are currently looking at rain and 33. Newport News, there we have a mix of precipitation. Some sleet. Those are the hard little ice pellets mixing with the rain. 30 degrees there. 27 in Williamsburg. Williamsburg, and we have temperatures there cold enough to support some mixed precipitation as well. Rain for the southern part of the eastern shore. We've got some snow farther to the north. Now, this is what I want to share with you. The air temperatures inland are very, very cold, but at about 850 millibars, or up around, say, 4,000 to 5,000 feet up in the atmosphere, there is this warmer push of air coming in off of the coast. We've got this marine layer trying to kind of stick its warmer nose into this cold air at the surface, and that's why we still have the potential for some mix or maybe some sleet or freezing rain out there. It's been mainly snow still this morning, light, but now we're starting to get a little more sleet out that way, and there's still some potential for a little bit of additional icing. So you can see we catch that break during the afternoon from the rain, and then additional chances for showers this evening. Temperatures should be above freezing near the coast. That moves out, and then we go through the day tomorrow looking better. Eventually, more cold air comes in. Now, as far as additional snowfall, you're not going to see much more across the area. It's mainly rain. Even those areas off to the north and west now, looking forward, the graph model really says, hey, don't count on much more snow up around Richmond or Tappahannock. There is some potential, though, for a glazing of ice on some of the surfaces. So stay very mindful of that. If you live out in the western parts of the area, I'm talking Surrey, Sussex, even Isle of Wight, out towards Franklin, Southampton, these areas here, I want you to know that there might be a little bit of freezing rain still going on. Certainly as you get out towards I-95, that's where it is so cold at the surface, but we're seeing some warmer air overriding that cold layer. So as precip falls, if it falls as liquid and doesn't refreeze, freezing rain. You could see some additional glazing on the roads. If it is cold enough to refreeze, that's where you get ice pellets or sleet, the kind that we talk about like putting sprinkles on the donuts. You could see a little bit of that, out that way towards I-95 as well. Near the coast, though, rain, a little bit of mix, but mainly rain around Norfolk. I did talk to one of my neighbors over along Ocean View, and they were saying they heard a little bit of sleet even when most of us had rain. So there's still a little bit of that mix in pockets. More of that freezing rain potentially out around Wakefield, maybe even areas just west of Franklin. Looking to the north, you've got rain for Hampton, rain for Newport News, some sleet and freezing rain around Williamsburg and Gloucester up to Urbana and Sunnybank. You get more mix as you head north along the eastern shore. Rain down around Cape Charles. Again, rain farther east and south on the peninsula. And then North Carolina, Outer Banks, you bet, just rain. Look at those temperatures, much warmer there. We have upper 40s for Currituck and Elizabeth City, low 40s for Edenton and Hereford. Rain down this way, maybe a little mix or freezing rain back out as you go farther inland across north central North Carolina. Tonight, lingering mix or rain showers, and it will be colder inland, but I think areas near the beaches above freezing, so it winds down as rain. Colder air comes in tomorrow. We see that temperature in the upper 30s, but falling off later on. And look at the falling temperatures. 35 the high on Tuesday, mostly sunny but cold. 32 on Wednesday, 31 on Thursday. We do have a chance for a few stray snow showers on Thursday. And then on Friday, back to 32, 36 Saturday. It is going to be a cold upcoming week. Marta, what a morning. Mainly wet for many areas, but you've got some other areas you're still watching.
Yeah, up on the peninsula, you could still encounter snow on the roads. Most of the south side, though, has now melted away. Even in those residential areas, we're seeing a lot more pavement now, where earlier this morning, if you were out on the roads at around 3 a.m., you would have seen snow. Taking a look here, we don't have any crashes we're watching. CBBT is now back open southbound. And once again, the majority of the issues we're seeing out on the roads related to snow are going to be up near Williamsburg, Gloucester Point, and in Newport News. So this is the latest look at I-64 south of Williamsburg this morning. You can see a little bit of snow still left on the road, a little bit of slush as well. It's just kind of a mix there. And then as we take a look at US 17, again, this is near Gloucester Point. Once again, that's an area where snow is still in the picture. So you want to take it slow if you are up on the peninsula this morning. Down on the south side, you still want to be aware, you still want to be diligent, but you're going to see a lot more melting. This is in Virginia Beach here. That rain is coming down. It's melted away any of the snow we had on the roads. Slush even is minimal, especially on those main roads, but in residential areas, we are seeing improving as well. So good news as we progress through this morning, but of course, you want to be aware as you head out the door. Guys.
All right, Marta, thank you for that. Well, from New York to Los Angeles, the entire country seeing drastic weather this weekend. What officials are reminding everyone as temperatures become deadly.
This storm has been massive, moving across the country, in some areas potentially catastrophic. Nearly 200 million people are under alerts for heavy snow, dangerous ice, and just brutal cold, including below-zero wind chills. There have been states of emergency declared in at least 18 states.
Yeah, more than a foot of snow in some areas as well. And the storm stretching more than 2,000 miles from New Mexico across the south into the Carolinas and then into the Northeast as well. More than a foot of snow possible again in some states, so we'll continue to follow this for you. And ABC's Morgan Norwood is in Dallas.
That massive 2,000-mile wide winter storm putting more than half the country on alert. A dangerous mix of snow, crippling ice, and frigid temperatures stretching from New Mexico all the way to Maine. 20 states now under emergency declarations, 200 million people under alerts. Here in Texas, the torrential rainfall quickly morphing into a dangerous icy mix. Almost 60,000 customers now without power, shelters filling up. Treacherous roads throughout the storm zone. In Missouri, this nasty pileup involving multiple tractor trailers.
I will show you that this is just turning back to ice.
Highway Patrol responding to hundreds of calls and dozens of crashes. In Odessa, this semi slamming into a snowplow. Governors across the country delivering a clear warning.
This winter storm has the potential to be remarkably dangerous.
Millions also bracing for possible power outages.
I spent the day preparing for this snow ice storm situation.
In Georgia, Natasha Beauclair stocking up on everything from water to supplies, batteries in case of those power outages.
That I had flashlights, crank radios, that I had power chargers that were portable for our phone that only required batteries, paper products. If the water goes out as well as the electricity, I'm always like, it is better safe than sorry.
And we are tracking conditions here at home. Here's a live look from the Weather Impact Interceptor. We're going to have team coverage right after this. We begin here with a weather impact alert. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ashley Smith.
And I'm Eugene Daniel. Yes, it is Sunday. We are all here because of that winter storm as we're tracking. We've had snow, we've had ice, got a little bit of rain. Little mix of everything that's making conditions a little difficult this morning.
Yeah, it has been a really interesting morning. Taylor, we've been eyeing the transition from mix to sleet to rain now. Yeah. And then the roads, you get just about, different varying conditions all over the place. So.
Yeah, I will say I think they're improving just because now we're not dealing with as much snow. So that's good news if you do have to head out the door. If you were driving in the middle of the night like us, snow was the issue.
And I know you've been watching the reports coming in. Like we had a report earlier from Portsmouth, I believe, a little bit of glazing on one of the porches with some ice. So you do need to watch your step out there. Things are getting warmer, though, and we're transitioning more to wet. You guys ready to get into it?
Let's go ahead. So right now I am seeing some areas of, as you see, just very cloudy conditions. And we even had a little bit of snow on the beach, Craig, over there.
Yeah, you see it down here, these little pockets of snow here and there. Currently, the surf, I wanted to point this out as well. We have a small craft advisory. It's just windy enough out there that the surf is rough, and that northeast wind is bringing in this push of warmer air, especially, well, we're seeing it down to the surface at the coast. But even inland areas where temperatures are still sub-freezing, we have this warmer push aloft, so that's creating some mix, some freezing rain in a few spots and some sleet. Many areas, though, have already transitioned to rain, and the areas that are all snow are really farther north and west. So we're going to see that transition from the mix to the cold rain for most of the area as the morning continues. We've got another round of rain coming late today and this evening with a mix possible inland as this precip winds down. Now look at this. This is an update, and this is great. I mean, we get this stuff. It automatically plots as this occurs. Look at this. Eastern Shore, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Portsmouth, and Chesapeake no longer under winter storm warning. That's a significant change. We were under warning until just moments ago. Weather Service says, okay, it's now rain for these locations. We're not worried about a refreeze this morning. It's going to be wet today. Temperatures climbing low to mid 40s. You still have the winter storm warning for the peninsula, Middle Peninsula, Northern Neck, Suffolk, Isle of Wight, Franklin, Southampton, Surrey, Sussex, down across North Carolina, Gates County, Hertford, and Northampton, and then you go south of that to Chowan and Bertie counties, you're under winter weather advisory. But the fact that they've cleared Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, and Portsmouth, that is significant along with the southern eastern shore. You can see the winter storm warnings continue for much of the area, but we've been taken out here right at the coast, south side, and on the eastern shore because it is now rain. Inland areas still mixed, still some freezing rain potentially up around Williamsburg. We've got crews up there. We'll hear from Brianna in just a moment. You'll notice the chances for snow continuing up around Richmond, but even as far inland as Richmond, that warmer air aloft starting to create a little more mixed precipitation. Still some minor additional freezing rain potentially up there. We've heard from Dominion Energy, and they're saying, hey, things are going pretty good so far. We haven't had too much ice on the power lines. Temperatures are still very cold in the teens there. We have low to mid 30s as you get closer, and then upper 30s to near 40 already in Virginia Beach. Feels like it's in the 30s. You still need to bundle up. Highs today near 44. Marta?
Yeah, so we went from worrying about snowy roads to now just worrying about wet roads across much of the south side. I do want to mention the peninsula up near Gloucester Point. You could still see those snowy conditions, and we'll take a live look in just a moment. Same thing on the eastern shore, but across the south side, we went from a lot of orange on the map to mostly green. Traffic speeds are picking back up as snow melts away this morning. I-64 up near Williamsburg, not really the case yet. It is improving across the region. This is up near Newport News. You can see there's still some snow off in the medians this morning, but the melting is definitely happening across the region. Up at Armistead Avenue in Hampton, this is, still snowy in some areas, especially in the turn lanes and across the shoulders, but for the most part, roads are clearing out, and that's going to be helpful for you if you do need to head out the door this morning. Otherwise, I-64 in Chesapeake, we are watching a broken down vehicle, not appearing to cause any major delays, but you do want to watch for potentially slick roads, potentially wet roads. I do want to mention once again, though, you're not going to see the snow-covered streets that we saw earlier this morning across the south side. So good news there. Guys, back to you.
All right, Marta, thank you for that. All right, we are tracking this snow, ice, and rain as the winter storm makes its way across our region.
And Jordy Clark has been all over Hampton Roads this morning in our weather impact intercept.
dig him out, but
No, he'll be fine.
No, we're good. All right, Craig, man, we appreciate you. Try to get indoors.
Oh, yeah.
Glad you wore gloves this time.
All right, let's check in now with Taylor. We need to see what's going on with this forecast, Taylor.
So right now with the forecast, I am tracking all of that wintry mess here across Hampton Roads and northeastern North Carolina. As we continue throughout the day today, we will see some of that mainly just becoming a very cold rain. Right now here in Hampton Roads, it is warmer than mainly the rest of the state. Same with places in northeastern North Carolina. We're talking temperatures in Hatteras, lower 60s. And then you get inland, and we're in the teens and 20s. That's why we're seeing some of that snow and sleet there still. Travel delays will be numerous throughout the northeast, spreading down into the mid-Atlantic through today. That's through this afternoon and evening, and then becoming a little bit less of a mess as this system pulls off to sea later on today. But it is a very cold day for us, with temperatures feeling more like freezing. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Taylor, this morning. We'll check in with you in just a few minutes, but right now, our coverage continues right after this break.
inside, we just came in. All right.
Well, the rain, snow, sleet mix is impacting most of the country, some areas being hit harder than others.
Matthew Torres from our sister station in Washington, D.C. has the latest conditions in Northern Virginia.
I'm Matthew Torres in Fairfax County, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C., where the snow continues to fall this morning. And so right now it seems like drivers are heeding that warning, not really being out on the roads. If anything, we are seeing snowplow trucks throughout this morning. And so just looking to the ground right now, you can see just how much snow has accumulated. But of course, we've also been talking about that mix coming in, the sleet that's going to be coming on top of this. And so far we're seeing few and far in between as far as drivers here, but no doubt still a beautiful morning as the snow is coming down. Freezing temperatures, that's going to be a concern later today, but so far this is what it looks like in what is the business hub of Northern Virginia.
And you know, Taylor, we've been talking about even how widespread this storm has been. Very big, impacting several states.
Right, and that system continues to move to the north, and as it does so, that will bring more snow to places like Northern Virginia and D.C. Here, you can even see the low pressure system. I'll point it out with my little cursor here. This low pressure system right here by the Outer Banks, that's pumping in some more moisture, but it's also pumping in some warmer air, and so that's why we're starting to see a widespread rain. And Craig mentioned just about 20 minutes ago that some of our most populated areas got dropped from the winter storm warning across Hampton Roads in northeastern North Carolina, as this becomes mainly just a cold rain. And you can see satellite and radar is active. Most of the area seeing some type of precipitation. Green is going to be your regular rain. Pink is going to be your freezing rain. You got sleet in the purple, and then you have some snowfall coming down in northern parts of the state. But for us, again, mainly just seeing some of that mix over. Still sleeting across portions of the peninsulas. Maybe a few areas with freezing rain, but those are very, very small in comparison to the sleet and regular rain. But Craig, I want to bring you in here real quick if you can. Let's see if we can get this just a regular shot if we can, or just, you know, move you over into this box here. We're going to do it like this.
Look, I can do that. There we go. Now, what we're going to do, and again, they've got the cameras coded, so that's why that
sorry,
shot was
y'all.
a little different. Yeah, that was a curveball to our incredible production staff that's been working hard all morning for you. Appreciate you guys adjusting on the fly. I wanted to come get the clicker, but while we're here, let's talk about the waves that are pounding there. Yeah. This is really interesting. Okay, small craft advisory, that in and of itself isn't that big of a deal, because who wants to go out on a day like today?
Nobody,
anyway?
yeah.
But what this also shows is those winds coming in from the northeast, and while they're not like damaging, that is a transport of warmer air into our region, which is really bringing about this change over to rain. And for those areas far inland, as you'll see, there's still some mix and maybe even a little bit of freezing rain out towards I-95. Let's go ahead and take weather 2 right now, and I'm going to get into the forecast. Again, you can see with the Thompson Creek Window Company sky views. And Taylor, I love these sky views. I mean, the fact we've been able to show you across the region this morning areas that had snow earlier, and now it's really a slushy mess. Taylor mentioned no more are we under winter storm warning if you live in Northampton up on the eastern shore. That includes Cape Charles, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Portsmouth, and Chesapeake, no longer under the winter storm warning. It's because it's become rainy here. No warnings or advisories for coastal sections of North Carolina. You go inland, Chowan, back over towards Bertie, you're under winter weather advisory, and then north of that, from Gates to Hertford and Northampton, North Carolina, winter storm warning there. For Suffolk, Isle of Wight, Surrey, the peninsula, the middle peninsula, the northern neck, and Accomack County, the winter storm warning continues. And keep in mind, again, as we've been saying for days, this is a massive system. That heaviest snow, the worst of this storm, that heavy snow area has shifted a little farther to the north. You can see now it is raining. I just came in from out there. We needed the umbrellas. It's a steady, kind of a moderate cold rain that we are dealing with out there, and that rain is going to continue to be, you know, with us for a while this morning. I think eventually it does break up. We're going to see some more rain up on the eastern shore, eventually get up into Accomack. Still some snow there, and the snow more widespread up around Tappahannock, northern parts of Virginia, still dealing with pockets of moderate to heavier snow. But you can see some of that mix, even inland areas out towards I-95. You see what's showing up on the radar. We're going to check temperatures for you here in a moment. And this is what is really eye-popping to me, because while the radar is depicting this mixed precipitation, air temperatures are in the teens there. So what's going on? Up about 4,500 feet to say 5,000 feet, there is warmer air that is being drawn in off of the coast. We're getting it from offshore. It's blowing in so that aloft it's warm enough to create rain. In some cases, the cold air at the Earth's surface is deep enough that it's allowing for a refreezing of that rain that's happening kind of at the mid layers of the atmosphere. It's falling as sleet. You're getting those hard little ice pellets because there's enough time for it to refreeze. In other areas, it's not shallow, or it's too shallow for that rain to freeze. So what happens is that rain that's falling at the mid-levels hits the ground, and there could still be some freezing out to the west. So we're going to be watching for that. Again, feels like temperatures are also in the teens. Winds are light inland, but we do have breezier conditions at the coast, so it feels like it's in the low 30s around Virginia Beach. All right, our temperatures today topping out in the low to mid 40s. We're going to find those feels like temperatures in the mid to upper 30s through the afternoon. Tonight's low down around 34. Now, at the coast, not that bad. We're going to see if we take down this weather impact alert. Originally, it runs through tomorrow morning. You know, there's a little bit of concern. There might be some refreezing far inland, so we may leave it up. I'm going to let the afternoon crew, Evan and Hunter, will take a closer look to see how chilly those inland areas get. I think near the coast, we're going to be in the mid-30s, so I'm really not that concerned for our coastal areas. Tomorrow, 38, again, decreasing clouds. Colder air moves in late, so that as we look ahead to Tuesday, get ready for bitter cold temperatures as we start out the day. Teens Tuesday morning, 35 for a high, 32 the high on Wednesday, and staying in the low 30s Thursday and Friday. Slight chance for a few more snow showers here on Thursday.
All right, let's take a look at your road conditions this morning. I do want to mention they have improved significantly since early in the morning when we all got to work around 3 a.m. They were mostly snow covered across both the peninsula and the south side. We are not seeing as much snow cover anymore across the board, but we are still seeing slush and some wet spots as well that could be slippery this morning. So again, south side looking mostly good. We are watching a broken down vehicle on the high-rise bridge that's blocking off one lane westbound this morning. And as you take a look at the live camera, you can see that melting has mostly happened. So again, treat it like a rainy condition, but watch out for that slush and potential snow in some areas too. Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel and our connectors moving along just fine. You can see those roads are clear. Primary roads are going to be mostly good on the south side, I should say. Residential roads are also improving, but you may encounter some slush or snow depending on where you are. Here's a live look at Fox Hill Road up in Hampton. Still have some of that snow in the turn lanes and on the medians, so definitely something you want to keep an eye out for, especially if you're changing lanes or turning. Guys.
Those are good tips, Marta. We appreciate it. Let's take a live look right now over the Jordan Bridge this morning. You can see the lens wet, so we still got some things falling from the sky. When we come back, we'll have an interview with officials with Virginia State Police on those road conditions across our region.
We are continuing our weather coverage of yesterday and really into today's winter storm, now tracking that ice, rain, and snow.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess out there in parts of Hampton Roads, and Jordy Clark has been all up in it in our weather impact interceptor. Jordy, where are you now, and what's the latest with those conditions?
Yes, you said it right. We have been everywhere this morning, with starting in Norfolk, going to Virginia Beach, the ocean front, to Chesapeake, and in Portsmouth. We were at the city park earlier, and we currently are still in Portsmouth, but we were driving around just a little bit just to check out some of these road conditions and giving you guys just a look at what we're seeing. It's an icky day. You know, that winter wonderland we saw certainly was beautiful to see if you were up dark and early like us, but if you are, waking up around this time or have been, drinking your morning coffee with us, you've probably seen that change depending on where you are. And if you've been seeing our weather coverage, our team weather coverage throughout this 757 and just throughout the entirety of Virginia, I mean, everywhere is kind of seeing a little bit of something different. So, here in Portsmouth, you kind of got that slushy mix, that wintry ick that I like to call it. And luckily this happened, on a weekend where there isn't as much, foot traffic and commuter traffic. So that is a good sign. And honestly, anyone who needs to be on the roads today for any reason, crews have just been advising to just take it slow, be easy, and just realize that there's so many and somewhat icy spots depending on where you are in Virginia. But you can stay with us at 13 News Now, as well as team coverage and our meteorologists, just to see what areas look like, where and how you will be affected. But until then, we'll send it back to you guys in the meantime.
All right, Jordy, thank you so much for that. It's been such a mixture of things since we came on the air at 6 o'clock this morning, now at 9:30. It just seems like it's been so different depending on who we've checked in with and what time we checked in on them.
Exactly, and Jordy's got a really good sense of that because she's been all over the place. But now we'll turn to Derek Lytle, who is live for us in Wakefield. This is where you have been. This is where you have set your stage, and it is still plenty much a winter wonderland out there, Derek.
Yeah, I can't help but think about the warm food I'm going to have tonight when I get back to the Hampton Roads area over there where I live and settled back in at home. But, for now, we're going to talk about this. Something I want to bring about is, over in areas like Virginia Beach, that temperature gradually getting into, the 40s. That's just, it doesn't feel like that's happening out here. And that's why you're still seeing the snow on the ground. You're still seeing the sleet fallen consecutively since you guys are coming to me at 6 o'clock, the 6 o'clock hour. Some good things to point out. You'll see one pass just by us, but there's been several snowplow crews and VDOT. We've seen VDOT crews now getting to the road and helping out here. So a lot of things going smoothly on a day that could be worse, like I had just said, but that the conditions aren't really getting any better here. So not like other areas that are seeing the snow get wiped away completely, guys.
All right, Derek, thank you so much for that. And we see it's not currently looks to be coming down, certainly out there in Wakefield. I know we saw it a little bit earlier this morning, but again, these conditions are changing by the hour as we're checking in with him.
But I will say this, I've seen more cars driving behind Derek as we've gone through this morning. And speaking of that, we know that road conditions top of mind for people. If you do have to head out in this weather, we've been talking about the potential in some areas for ice and those slushy spots. So it's important to practice those safe driving measures.
Oh, yeah. Let's turn now to Robin Lawson with the Virginia State Police. She joins us now with some safety tips. So, Robin, first of all, thank you for joining us this morning. I know you've been busy probably for the last several days just gearing up for this storm. What's the focus for your team this morning?
Right now, our focus is to get the message out to all of the public to stay off the roads. Even though the snow has dissipated some, the ice is our main concern. We're seeing very slushy, very slick conditions across the roadways, and we need people to stay off the roads, as the governor, stressed yesterday and the day before. At least stay off the road roads through Monday morning. This will give VDOT a chance to do their work. It allows, room and safer road conditions for Virginia State Police and other rescue personnel to respond to stranded motorists. And by the way, if you do venture out, there will be a delay and Virginia State Police and others being able to respond to you. So that's the main message that we want to stress right now.
And, Robin, again, thank you for your time. I was just looking at some of the numbers that you all released this morning on crashes across the state already since this storm started. I think the number I'm looking at combined across the entire state is 177, and we've had quite a few here in Hampton Roads. I know you just said
yes, that's right. Yeah. That total number has now gone up to 208.
Oh, my.
Yes, we are seeing in certain areas where people are not, heeding the advice and the warnings of government officials, and of course that's leading to an uptick in crashes. So, again, really trying to stress that message. Now, if you must venture out, please, drive slow. Leave space between you and other vehicles. Be sure you pack water, warm blankets, any other necessities like medication. But more than anything, we would like for you to stay home and stay in place until we can get the roads clear.
Because one of the things I was thinking as you were talking there, Robin, is that when people get into crashes or something happens because they're out in the roads, your team is having to respond to that in the way that kind of puts them too in a precarious situation out there. What are you all doing to make sure that your team members are safe? Because we know when something happens, they have to respond.
Yes, I know. Thank you so much for thinking about all of our first responders. And that's a very good point. So, the additional crashes, it puts additional strain, like I said, on Virginia State Police, on medics, on additional first responders. We are having to drive in this as well. Our troopers are well prepared. However, we would like for them not to have to respond to crash after crash. It puts everyone's lives at risk. So again, if you can just be courteous, think of others as well as your own safety, and stay at home.
Of course, we hope that most people do just stay off the roads while, you all are working to keep everyone safe. But you mentioned there are some people that do have to head out. So let's say someone does head out, they get stuck, they get into some sort of, difficult situation here. What do you advise that they do at that point to inform you all of what's going on and, of course, to stay safe until you all arrive?
Of course, and depending on the severity of the incident, dial 911, dial your local. Virginia State Police, if it's on a highway, will respond as soon as possible. Of course, we assist local law enforcement, with response measures when needed. So it's working closely with all of our law enforcement and first responders so that, someone can get there as quickly as possible. If you are on the roads and you are coming upon a stranded vehicle or a crash, please move over. Our troopers have to get out of their vehicles, which puts them at additional risk. And the last thing we want is, a passerby sliding into them on icy conditions.
Well, Robin, thank you so much for taking your time. And again, extending all of our thanks to you and your team for the work that you have to do during this time. And hopefully people heard that, they can heed to all of that. And so we can all stay safe.
That's right.
Throughout this next several hours.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, let's turn things over to Jemiah Beatty. She is driving around. The last time that we checked in with Jemiah, you were in Smithfield. Are you still kind of in that general area?
Good morning, Ashley. Yes, we are still riding around Smithfield, but I want to show you something we don't often get to show you, is that we are right behind, safely behind a plow truck. Now, we've seen several plow trucks with VDOT kind of riding around the area. This one that we've been following for quite some time now, I want to say for the last 20 minutes, has been just clearing those roads. And as we drive down this highway here, you can see the roads are very passable, but we've also been watching this plow truck, drop pellets of salt down on the ground just to keep this ice melted. As you can see, they're doing a really good job of doing that. But if you look over to the side around your TV screen there, you can see there's a lot of snow and ice still covering the ground in areas, but also if you turn off to other areas, it's still frozen solid. So we're seeing that still in this area. We're also seeing a light drizzle. You see our wipers there going across our window here. So we're still seeing that rain. We're still seeing some ice on the road. But again, VDOT has been working around the clock to keep these roads passable. But reporting live for you this morning, I'm Jemiah Beatty.
All right, Jemiah, thank you for that. We are keeping a very close eye on these weather conditions all morning long. Thank you for your reporting. Our reporters have been working very hard today. So let's take a live look now over Virginia Beach from our sky cam. There it is, kind of. You can see we're facing town center here atop the west end, but certainly covered with that rain. We've been telling you it's moving through the area. So meteorologist Taylor Stephenson and meteorologist Craig Moeller have your forecast right after this. Right now, we are tracking snow, sleet, and freezing rain across the region.
And Brianna Fallon is live in Williamsburg. She has been seeing snow pretty much throughout the morning. What's falling right now, Brianna?
Yeah, this seems to still kind of be a mix of that sleet, but it's really transitioning to rain right now. If you actually want to take a look at the ground, you can kind of see there is a layer of like ice from that sleet. You can kind of see just as I step how it just kind of breaks off, and it is a little more tough to step on. You can kind of see the ice falling from that top layer. But again, like we've been talking about really all morning, crews have been out. They've been taking care of the sidewalk, taking care of the roads. And again, the roads still could use a little bit of work. They're not totally clear yet. So again, like we've been saying and reminding you all morning, if you can be home this morning, it's best to stay at home this Sunday morning and to avoid being out. Now, we have seen a few people actually out walking their dogs, but earlier this morning we did see about 10 crews kind of out making sure the sidewalks are safe for people to walk on. So again, not too many people out, but there are a few people braving the cold, braving these conditions, and just really seeing the winter wonderland that Colonial Williamsburg is right now. Live in Williamsburg, Brianna Fallon, 13 News Now.
It is really pretty out there.
And I've been wondering all morning if the students at William and Mary are back, and so they're experiencing this too. That was always something we looked forward to when we were in college. Brianna, you've done a great job today. We appreciate you so much. We'll turn it now over to meteorologist Taylor Stephenson. Taylor, I actually kind of want to ask you, based upon what you're seeing in Brianna's shot, anything standing out to you?
No, mainly just the fact that even though it was snow earlier this morning, a lot of the time that she was out there, it was sleet. And so the sleet continues for portions of our area throughout the morning this morning. And as we continue throughout Hampton Roads in northeastern North Carolina, the warm air will start to filter in, and that will give us that changeover into some of that widespread rain. And Craig will tell you how the rain for this morning has influenced what the National Weather Service has done in terms of our alerts. Right now, satellite and radar for us is still very active. Widespread rain, sleet, still some snow as you head closer to portions of central Virginia. But right now for the peninsulas, you can see that snow, that sleet line starting to push much further to the north there with the purples and the pinks. You get down to the south side, it's mainly rain, maybe a few areas of some freezing rain. And then you continue down in northeastern North Carolina where they've been pretty much warmer than freezing for a majority of the morning, if not in some parts of the overnight, and they have seen some spotty showers this morning. Now, Craig, I just mentioned that we have rain now. What has the Weather Service said in terms of this winter storm warning?
So they, they took down the warning for Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, and Portsmouth, as well as Northampton up on the eastern shore, and no advisories for northeast North Carolina now until you get out towards Gates County and Hertford, back out into Northampton. Areas a little farther to the southwest still under advisories and warnings. But for most of the areas, certainly near the coast, we're seeing those warnings coming down. That is good news. Here's what we're expecting. Again, the transition to rain for most of the area continues. There's still some mixing inland. Rain's going to decrease as we go late this morning and into the afternoon near the coast. It'll persist a bit later farther inland out to the west and to the north. And then we've got another round of rain potentially this evening, maybe some mix inland. Let's take a look at the next 9 hours. You can see the rain with us through noon and then kind of tapering off as we go past 1 o'clock. A little bit of a break this evening, a few more showers late afternoon. At the ocean front, small craft advisory still up. Rain on the camera housing here as we take a look at the Thompson Creek Window Company Skyview. There are small craft advisories up for the bay and the ocean. Rain and 40 reported at Norfolk International. You come inland, Newport News, 31 degrees. That's what we're looking at right there. And as we take a look, you're going to find those temperatures in the low 30s, Hampton, Newport News, teens out towards I-95. We still have some freezing rain potential out there, but the amounts have been a little bit lighter. That is a blessing, and still some mixed precipitation. Franklin out towards Williamsburg, you could still see a little bit. We just heard from Brianna Fallon, and she was saying that it's more of a rain transition, even up around Williamsburg. So we're getting more of that rain up on the eastern shore. And I mentioned those coastal areas no longer under the winter storm warning. Now, as we take a look at the futurecast, I want you to know down to the south, and I'll just quickly go back here and just show you this look. Down here across North Carolina, notice how it's starting to break up already. Watch that trend as we head through the afternoon. You're going to see more breaks across the area. It's going to be cloudy. Temperatures in the mid-40s around Virginia Beach, 43 in Norfolk. Still chillier inland. And as I mentioned, if you keep going west, you're going to pick up some of that mixed precipitation, maybe some sleet up that way. Probably a little less freezing rain. I think it's going to be more like sleet pellets. At any rate, you're going to see some of that mix potentially into the early evening. Showers here at the coast, and then that mix inland. It will wind down as we go through the evening. Tomorrow should be fine. Temperatures are going to be in the lower to mid-30s above freezing near the coast, but I think inland areas, some spots still down around 30 degrees, Newport News, Wakefield, and Emporia. That's 6 a.m. tomorrow, 26 up at Richmond. So a little bit of refreezing a concern far inland out towards I-95. Most of us, though, in pretty good shape. A few flurries possible tomorrow. Just a slight chance, but something we'll watch for. Colder air comes in after that. Look at these temperatures early Tuesday in the teens and low 20s. We'll definitely need to bundle up. All right, additional snowfall. Pretty minimal now. Most of it's rain, a little bit of mix. Ice outlook, pretty minimal as well. I think this model's been overdoing it pretty much the whole time, but I'll just mention there's still some possibility of ice out towards Tappahannock and Richmond. Most areas for us now looking more at rain than anything else. 41 around Norfolk as we go. I think officially the high maybe 43 or 44. We're at 40 right now, so temperatures may come up a little bit. It's going to be cloudy. The rain out there decreasing. Still some mixed precip far inland. You're going to see the same for those inland areas off to the north, warmer across North Carolina. How about the Outer Banks? Later today, upper 50s to near 60. Wow, what a difference. All right, temperatures much colder, though, for the upcoming week. Another chance for a few snow showers on Thursday.
All right, good morning, everybody. As we check in on your traffic, we haven't seen many incidents throughout the morning. A few have popped up here and there, but I think the fact that people really just aren't hitting the roads this morning is helping out a lot. Much of the south side road conditions have improved greatly since earlier this morning. We're seeing a lot of that melting already happening. Up in Williamsburg, you may still see snow or slush on the roads, but again, improving conditions across the board. So giving you a live look across the region. We checked in on this camera angle about 2 hours ago, and there was snow all over the place. That's just not the case anymore. Wet roads definitely in play in Virginia Beach. Snow, not so much an issue anymore. Fox Hill Road up in Hampton, we've got some snow on the shoulders and in the turn lanes. No snow in the main lanes of traffic anymore. Melting occurring up on the peninsula as well. You can see clear roads near Williamsburg and clearing roads in Chesapeake as well. So again, if you were out the door early this morning in the overnight hours, you may have seen that snow. Now we're transitioning into slushy conditions and mostly rain as well. Guys.
Okay, Marta, appreciate you. Marta, go ahead and come on over here, man. Go ahead and make your way on over.
I'm balancing out the shot here next to Ashley.
She was coming over here, Craig.
There she is.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for waking up and sticking with us here on Daybreak on 13 News Now and 13 News Now Plus. A lot that we covered.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. But hey, we are back at noon with another hour of more local news and extended weather right here on 13 News Now Plus. And we thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great day and please be safe.